Welcome to NIASO. We're very pleased you've joined us. Today we are going to talk about or take a tour and find the Ministry of Education for Nigeria. So if you are anywhere in the world, on the continent, in the diaspora, anywhere at all, and you have been so impressed with all the graduates and all the professionals coming out of Nigeria, and you'd like to study in Nigeria, today we're going to take you through find the Ministry of Education website and just find the various options that they're there. So we start off with trying to find the Government of Nigeria's website, because if you're thinking of going anywhere, it's worth seeing what the setup is like and what there's there. So there's the statehouse.gov.ng, which presumably would be the House of the President. So here it shows the President Buhari. And if you scroll down, there's some pictures there. And just continue to scroll down. So on the bottom here, they have got People, Presidency, Policy, Press Office, Presidential Video. That's always interesting. But we're going to stay focused. You can explore. Feel free to explore. Let's see what there are in People. So under People, we have, of course, the Nigerian flag, colors. You have the President, His Excellency. You have the Vice President, His Excellency, Yemi Osinbajo. Scroll down. You have the wife of the President, Her Excellency, Aisha Mohammed Buhari. Love the picture, so beautiful. You have the wife of the Vice President, Her Excellency as well. And I try to click on here, the cabinet. Perhaps it's just slow in responding. So here we have the high-level view of the rulers with the cabinet of Nigeria. Please visit and learn more if you're interested in studying Nigeria. So I searched specifically, and the URL for the Ministry of Education is here. So the URL for the Ministry of Education in Nigeria is education.gov.ng. So this looks like a good starting point. Loving the Nigerian colors, the green and the white. And on the, here we have, this is the scrolling. So they have home, about, they've got the mandates, the structures, the executives, they've got the departments, universities, education, College of Education, Education Support Services, Technology Science, like they have a lot, internal audit, basic education, senior education, federal education quality assurance service, education planning, research development, information technology, finance, etc., polytechnics, education, and allied institutions. So if we go to the institutions and we go to universities, you can see it has federal universities, state universities, and private universities. So if we start with the first one, federal universities, let's see where this takes us to. This one opened up. So for federal universities, they have a list of universities, as you would imagine. Wow, you will not be short of an institution to study in Nigeria. They've got listed for federal universities alone, 43 federal universities. Most of them seem to have a website. The web addresses are there and the year they were established. And if you can see, there are lots of them that are older established universities from the 80s, and I think even going as far back as amongst the oldest established universities on the continent and in the world. So we are going to go and select the University of, let's have a look and choose one. Let's go for the University of Ibadan. Established in 1948. So this is obviously one of the older universities in Nigeria. Let's try that URL link, see if that works. If not, we'll type it directly into the path. Seems to work quite well. So the University of Ibadan has a URL where it's ui.edu.ng. So if you are considering going to study in Nigeria and you want to study in the University of Ibadan, the first and the best, you can go visit their URL and then start navigating through. I see immediately the College of Medicine, and we all know that Nigeria does educate medical professionals that are valued globally. They're educated in Nigeria and they worked all over the world with their Nigerian qualifications. And I can imagine it would be a fraction of the cost. So the first in Nigeria, the seventh in Africa, that's what they say. So they have a mission, UI. It was the College of London, of the College of the University of London back in the time. So you can go have a look there. Looks very impressive. We go to in the administration. Let's see who runs the university. As I always kind of recommend, if you're thinking of moving to a place or choosing an institution, it's always good to just have a sense of who's in charge. So there we are. So it comes up with there's a visitor. Oh, the visitor is the president. Very interesting. So the visitor is the president, Muhammadu Buhari, and then the chancellor is Amirul Mu'minin Sultan Muhammadu Said Abubakar IV, the Sultan of Sokoto. Just love this. And even just visiting the university website, you get to learn a bit about the culture by the participation of the various leadership. So you can find about the Sultan of Sokoto and even find a bit more about Sokoto itself, the Pro-Chancellor, Chairman, Vice Chancellor. Oh, this was a person who was first came up, Professor K.O. Adebowale, and don't forget Chief John E. K. Oji Oyegun. I am trying. So they have all these, and if you're considering going to study in University of Ibadan, I would encourage you to go through a few and see and get a sense of the qualification, sense of the people, sense of the expertise, etc. Like they just look so good, so impressive. So there we are. So that's of the administration, a man of principles, courage, and conviction. So impressive. I just love the way Nigerians and people in the diaspora speak. And this is the second time I've seen this, where here they said Chief Oyegun is married to Mrs. Victoria Noseyemi Oyegun, apologies for mispronouncing, in 1965. And it says the marriage is blessed with the adorable children. And I think that was the same language that was used earlier I saw, and this is the first time I am seeing such language, and I just think it is so beautiful. Anyway, I digress. So that's the leadership there. So now let's go to academics. So what do you want to study? Well, you're not going to be short of things to study in the University of Ibadan. Just move this down slightly. Academics, go back to academics. So they have agriculture, of course, being on the continent, agriculture would be plentiful. Arts, education, environmental design, management, pharmacy, renewable energy. I'm going to scroll this down so I can get it better. Academics, there you go. Veterinary medicine, Institute of African Studies. I imagine if you're doing African studies on the continent, it's going to be so rich. School of Economics, College of Medicine, Institute of Peace and Strategic Studies. It's really interesting that they tie peace with medicine, because peace does have a lot of impact or lack of peace on people's health. Very good. Dentistry, student affairs. So all of these things are there. So go through, choose your area. That actually is research. Choose your area and find something that you may like to study. So let's choose a department. So let's go to academics and see if we can find a department so you can get a little bit more of an insight as to what they may have. So let's go to the School of Economics. So within the University of Ibadan, as with lots of the large institutions, they will have sub-schools within them that provide specialist knowledge and education. So this is the Department of Economics, and the URL for that is economics.ui.edu.ng. So meet our staff. Then they have teaching staff. Let's do a quick scroll down because I don't want this to be super long. People have PhDs. I think people are well studied, they're serious studied. So if you're going to be taught by anyone who they're so qualified, look at they all have their PhDs, which means they've got their first degrees, their masters, and their PhDs. Seems as though that may be like a basic requirement, which is phenomenal because I'm our assistant lecturer so far. For all the lecturers, they all seem to have a PhD. So when you're taught by people who are extremely knowledgeable, the quality of education you get is phenomenal. So just randomly choose, let's view his profile. So you can see the quality of the people that lead. He's the professor and head of department in Ibadan. He's got university, he's got PhD in economics, so is well positioned. And he's a professor and he's in allied research. I mean, you can read through all of these. And again, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, the World Bank, the National Data Bank. So there's a lot of international organizations involved in the education space and activities on the continent. And here you have his more specific one, visiting scholar in the IMF. So he's for economics, which all these institutions and international organizations have a play and an impact. He's very well familiar. So if you're an economics student, you can straight away see that the leadership here comes well positioned, well experienced in this area. So that's one of the things we touched on. So if you're considering the University of Ibadan, you can go and have a look there. Let me see if we can go back one to look at their admissions. This is still in Department of Economics. It's going back. And I think now we're at the home page. So if we go to admissions and perhaps select undergraduate studies. So there's a student portal and you have to be engaged there. There's guidelines which you can read. I want to see if they have anything that tells you how you can actually study if you're an overseas or international student. Let's type postgraduate studies. Discover more for new and returning students, postgraduate. And at the bottom here, they've got a couple of email addresses. There's an information desk at pgcollege.ui.edu.ng, and there's another one, pgcollege.eu information desk at gmail.com. So perhaps you want to choose the one that has the college URL as part of the name, but reach out and ask questions in terms of how you can be admitted for either an undergraduate, the postgraduate, and I also saw they had a distant learning. So if the University of Ibadan is a place you want to consider studying, one of the best universities, well, they on there, look at that, they say they're first in Nigeria right there in green and white, and they're 7th in Africa and 401 to 500 in the World University Ranking. I think they've got to 2023 already. It's quite impressive to get there. So I think we're in 2022. They're just forward thinking. That's what it is. So if you consider studying at the University of Ibadan, the URL again is ui.edu.ng. So please visit, and you know you will learn, and you know you'll be well qualified, because you just have to consider all those Nigerian professionals everywhere who are home trained, and all the benefits and things that you can gain from actually being on the continent and in Ibadan. And I guess one of the other things you may want to do is find out more about Ibadan itself. But there's the website, the pictures are the ones I've seen before. So that's one of the universities. So let's go find another university. Let's come out of University of Ibadan. Thank you very much for visiting with us. So now let's go back to the government universities page. And this time we are going to look for, let's find another federal university. So now we turn to the University of Lagos. And the University of Lagos is URL is unilag.edu.ng. University of Lagos, indeed and in truth. That's the wording underneath their logo. So it says Unilag ranks first in Nigeria and 401st to 500 in the world. So it appears that University of Ibadan was also the first. But I'm sure there's a healthy rivalry perhaps amongst all these universities, which makes it great. So here at the University of Lagos, let's see how their websites perform and what information they can give us. So we can go to the About Us, see who's in leadership. So About Us was founded in 1962, over 5 decades. I think the other one was a little older, if I recall. So let's see leadership and organization. So here we have the leadership and the organization. Wow, so he's the Chancellor is His Royal Highness, the Shehu of Borno, Alhaji Dr. Abubakar IBN Umar Gabai El-Kani. Wow. So similar to the other university had a sultan, if I recall. So again, if you are an international student and these opportunities to just learn about the culture, like this is so rich and so nice to see. And this is Prince Dr. Lani Tujuso. And that could be like a prince, as in a prince. Or perhaps his first name, I am not sure. But again, it just, all these just speaks to the cultural richness that exists on the continent and Nigeria in particular. And we have Professor Folashade Ogunsola, the Vice Chancellor. And I don't know if these similar to, there are links, it doesn't appear to, but there's some that have their contact details for questions you may have. And there's a whole list of their Deputy Vice Chancellors, professors, all excellent persons in the leadership of the university. So that's the leadership. So that's still About Us. There are vacancies and awards, etc. So moving on to academics. So academics at the University of Lagos, they have all the faculties here at basic medical sciences, management science, clinical sciences, dental science, education, engineering, environmental science, law, pharmacy, social science, and faculty of science. Then they have all these institutes and colleges as well. Very impressive. So I don't even know where to begin. I am overwhelmed with choices. But so if you are overseas and or anywhere and you're thinking of studying or you've just thought, you know what, I fancy to just check out what's going on in the continent, one of the best ways would be go study there, do your first degree, second degree, or your PhD. It seems like it is the continent, and Nigeria in particular, has so many opportunities. So let's choose something. But if you choose environmental sciences, you go to University of Lagos. So we have Faculty of Environmental Services. There's an email address if you do want to reach out for any reason whatsoever. Communication unit at unilag.edu.ng is right here. So if you want to inquire, how can I study? Do you offer this? Just reach out. So here's About Us, the Department of Environmental Studies, the Faculty of Environmental Studies, and they have 95%. There you go, success. So there's a whole bunch of information there. So the academics, our academics program are rigorous and carefully modeled to prepare students and nearly 60,000 students can choose from 80 undergraduate and 110 postgraduate degree programs. So if you choose to go to the University of Lagos, as an undergraduate, you have 80 programs, and a postgrad, you have 110. That's quite impressive. And these are all the different faculties: medical science, management science, a lot of sciences, and their faculty of arts, dental, science, and education. And they have engineering science, law, pharmacy, social science, faculty of science. And they have these different colleges as well. So it seems like it's huge. There's even an Institute of African and Diaspora Studies. So imagine doing African and Diaspora Studies on the continent. So those of you who are interested in studying more, learning about African, the diaspora, etc., be very interesting to learn it from on the continent with a different, perhaps, and a broader perspective, compared to learning it from the diaspora. So let's go visit the Faculty of Dental Sciences. So even though I clicked on the Faculty of Dental Sciences, it took me to the Faculty of Arts. So perhaps there's an opportunity there for some enhancements of the site. But nevertheless, it shouldn't stop you applying to the university. Let me see. And let me click on the About Us. Perhaps it is grouped under arts. The website is a window into the university, and I know sometimes we get so focused on trying to accomplish other things, we don't focus on our website. Capacity buildings, excuse me. So this About Us talks about capacity building, establishment, community of practice and research, policymakers. So it doesn't look like it's dental science, and it does say Faculty of Arts. So I'm going to leave that there. It is likely that this doesn't seem to tie in with the dental science I was hoping to get. And I'm almost hesitant to use the back arrow because, and as we journey through all the university sites, we'll see that some universities keep their sites up to date and some universities are a work in progress. So I clicked on there, and I'm going to do that once more. Yep, that took me to the Faculty of Arts. So that is not working, but if you do want to study dentistry, there's a link here, communication unit at unilag.edu.ng. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Let's have a look and see if we can find anything on applying as an international student. So let's go to admissions. Admissions. Oh, there we go. 1962 Foundations Undergrad Distance Learning Institute. International students. It may as well have had your name there. It says international students, or if you're local students. So student portal, let's scroll down and see what you need to do as an international student. Eligibility for postgraduate diplomas, masters. Although it says international students, when you click the link, this is what you get, which doesn't speak to it. However, as with all diligent people, let's say either contact us, because again, there's existence of the service, but maybe not the website. The website's not as updated as it should be. So there's a telephone number there, and there's the email, communicationunit@unilag.edu.ng. So I hope you get to so if you want to consider studying at the University of Lagos, please reach out to them, send an email and ask about whichever academic program you want to engage in, and perhaps they may have an updated information for you. And do continue to research about, if you want to study Nigeria, about Nigeria as a whole. There is so much information there. There's units, there's research projects, there are tons of things going on. And we know that Nigeria does an excellent job in educating its young people and older people as well. So thank you very much. That's the end of our visit of just highlight 2 universities in Nigeria for those who may want to consider studying. I think they have so many universities in Nigeria. So if you go back to their education site, Ministry of Education site, you can see where it is listed. So I hope you enjoyed the tour with us and join us again for the next one. Thank you very much. Please subscribe, like, and share so everyone can know that studying in Africa is where we need to be and what we need to be doing. Studying in Africa is where it's at. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.